Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, today we've got a pretty clear mission, right? We're taking this stack of resources you've gathered, all focused on the remote workforce, the good stuff, the setup, the real details, and we're pulling out the essential intelligence. We're really skipping the why debate and jumping straight into the benefits you can see now and, the tools you actually need.
Exactly. And that focus on infrastructure, it's so important because this shift, it's not slow anymore. It's really taking off. The sources we looked at confirmed that Owl Labs finding something like, 16% of companies globally are fully remote now?
16%. Wow.
Yeah. But the really interesting part and what we're digging into here is this idea of hidden outcomes.
Yeah.
It's like way beyond just saving a bit on office space. It's about real strategic shifts.
Absolutely. So the goal is to unpack those, what do we say, 7 core benefits
Well,
of remote hiring, looking at everything from the money side to maybe surprisingly employee health, giving you the facts.
sounds good. Where should we start? The money.
Let's start there. It's the most obvious, maybe the most dramatic piece, the financial gains for the employer.
Yeah, from the employer side, cutting overhead costs.
Yeah.
It happens fast, and it's significant. We all know office space costs money. But some of the numbers in these sources are genuinely surprising.
Okay, give us the numbers then. We hear about companies saving on rent, but what does it actually mean per employee?
Well, the PGI data that was in the stack, it puts the average saving on property at about $10,000
$10,000.
annually. Yeah. For each full-time remote employee. Think about that. It's a fixed cost that just vanishes when
Yeah.
you move away from having everyone in one big building.
$10,000 per person per year.
Yeah.
That's huge. And this isn't just theory, right? We saw that example, Aetna, the insurance company.
Oh, yeah, the Aetna case. They saved $78 million a year
$78 million. How?
by basically managing 2.7 million square feet of office space remotely, letting people work from elsewhere. That's real money they can then use for, anything else.
Yeah.
Growth, investment.
Okay, 78 million is a massive number, but let's play devil's advocate for a second. That Aetna example is great, but
Uh-huh.
doesn't shifting remote mean new costs? Fancy software subscriptions, maybe helping employees set up home offices. Does that eat into the savings?
That's a fair question. And yes, the sources do mention new costs for digital tools and support. But the point they make is that these costs rarely, if ever, get close to what you'd pay for commercial rent, utilities, cleaning, security, all that stuff, especially in big cities.
So the scales is different.
Completely different. The real estate savings are usually so large that even after you invest in the tech you need, the net gain, the actual money saved, is still overwhelmingly positive.
Okay, that makes sense. So the financial argument is pretty strong.
Very strong. And once you've got that cost advantage sorted, it unlocks the next big thing, finding better talent globally.
Right. You're not stuck hiring only people who live within, say, an hour's drive of the office anymore.
Exactly. The geographic walls just crumble. Like if you're a tech company in, I don't know, London, but the perfect engineer is in Edinburgh or even Berlin, remote work lets you hire them instantly.
We saw examples of that, didn't we? Companies in India hiring specialists in the UK, the US, Canada.
All over. And this global reach does a couple of things. First, obviously, you get access to a much wider pool of skills you might not find locally, or maybe they'd be way too extensive locally.
Makes sense.
Second, and this is more strategic, you bring in different perspectives, more cultural sensitivity, broader market insights. That feeds directly back into doing better marketing, maybe even designing better products for a global audience.
So you're not just filling a role, you're actually diversifying the way your company thinks and understands the world.
Precisely. And it's not just employers who benefit here. The talent, the employees, they want this. They're demanding it, actually.
Is there data on that preference?
Oh, yeah. Clear data. That after-college survey we saw, nearly 68% people said they'd rather work for a company that offers remote options.
Wow, 2/3.
Almost. So imagine two companies fighting for the same top candidate. One offers remote work, the other doesn't. That's 68%. That's a huge competitive edge right there.
And it helps keep people too, presumably.
Yeah.
Retention.
Big time. Happy employees stick around.
Which leads us nicely into the whole, the human side of things. You mentioned boosting employee happiness, keeping them longer. That's vital for growth, isn't it? The resources highlight what 2 main things remote workers need.
Yeah, 2 key things for them to really thrive. First, a supportive company culture, even when virtual. Second, genuine flexibility in how and when they work.
Okay, let's unpack flexibility. What does that mean in practice?
Well, it's not just saying, okay, you can work from home. It's more about trusting people, treating them like adults who can manage their own time around, life, appointments, family commitments. If you give people that trust and framework, you build loyalty. And a loyal employee who's happy, that saves you so much money on constantly hiring and training replacements. That turnover cost is a real hidden killer for profits.
Right, the hidden drain, as you put it. Okay, so happy, loyal employees. But what about productivity? That's the old argument, isn't it? If I can't see them, are they really working?
Ah, yes, the productivity debate. But the sources actually flip that argument. They suggest that traditional office can actively hurt productivity.
How so?
The commute is enemy number one. Remember that UK stat? The average worker spends 58 minutes commuting each way.
58 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow. Almost an hour just getting there.
Exactly. An hour often spent stressed in traffic, dealing with delays, before they even start their actual workday.
That's nearly 2 hours a day, potentially. Time that could be spent, well, not commuting, preparing for the day, maybe exercising, family time. Getting rid of that friction has to help, right?
It helps massively, and the productivity numbers reflect that. This was the statistic that really jumped out at me. Remote work is linked to reducing overall workplace stress by 82%.
82% reduction in stress. That sounds almost too good to be true. How do they measure that? Is it just people saying they feel less stressed?
It's largely self-reported, yes, but it's correlated with fewer reports of things like headaches, anxiety, burnout symptoms. The idea is you remove the big stressors, the horrible commute, the constant interruptions in an open office, maybe some of the office politics, feeling like you have to look busy.
Right, the presenteeism thing.
Exactly. When you remove those negatives, people are naturally less stressed. And healthier people are more productive people. It's a pretty direct link. There was that Flex Jobs survey, too, of like 3,000 remote workers. 77% said they'd be healthier if they could work flexibly.
So less stress, better health equals better work. More focus, fewer sick days.
That's the equation, basically. Higher quality output, people are more engaged, less absenteeism.
And that hour or two saved from commuting. It's not just not commuting. It's time people get back for their actual lives, time to relax, clear their head, be with family, which probably puts them in a better mood for work anyway.
Absolutely. It's about quality of life, which feeds back into work quality. So, okay, we've got the why. Strong financial reasons, access to better talent, happier, less stressed, more productive people.
Sounds like a win-win-win.
It looks that way.
Yeah.
But now we need to talk about the how. Because just telling everyone to work from home without the right support, that's not going to work. You can't just rely on email to manage everything. That's chaos waiting to happen.
Right. You need the infrastructure, the digital toolkit. The sources mentioned specific tools, didn't they?
They did. For managing the actual work, the projects, you need something centralized, especially with teams spread out, maybe globally. Tools like SmartTask, Asana, Basecamp came up, platforms that let everyone see what's going on, who's doing what, keep things on track.
Project management clarity. Got it.
But that's just one piece. You also need good communication tools.
Yeah.
Things that'll give you more context than just email. Microsoft Teams, Slack, Zoom. Tools that allow for quick chats, video calls, screen sharing. Trying to replace that quick walk over to someone's desk, basically.
Yeah, those visual cues are important.
They really are. And then there's a big piece people often forget until it becomes a problem. HR.
Human resources. How does that change with remote work? Must get complicated fast.
Exponentially complicated. Think about hiring someone in a different state or even a different country, onboarding them, making sure you're following all the local laws, managing time off.
Nightmare.
It can be, which is why the sources highlighted the need for comprehensive HR platforms. HR Cloud was mentioned as one example. These systems are designed to smooth out that whole transition from a physical office setup to a virtual one. They handle the entire employee journey digitally.
Okay, so what specific things do these platforms do? You mentioned onboarding.
Yeah, onboarding is a big one. They use automated workflows. The claim was they can onboard people 3 times faster, cutting the total time by like 60%.
60% faster onboarding. That's significant. No more piles of paperwork on day one.
Hopefully not. It's about making that start smooth and efficient. And crucially, they handle compliance. This is huge.
Compliance. Like taxes and legal stuff.
Exactly, especially if you're hiring across borders or even just across state lines in the U.S. Think about things like I-9 compliance in the States, proving someone's eligible to work there.
Right, that's essential paperwork.
Absolutely essential.
Yeah.
And incredibly risky if you get it wrong. These automated systems help manage that, making sure the right forms are filled, the right checks are done, reducing that legal risk across different places.
Okay, so onboarding, compliance. What else? Hiring itself.
Yes, the core HR functions,
Mm.
managing paid time off or PTO,
Okay.
and they often include a recruit ATS, an applicant tracking system.
ATS, right.
Yep.
Software to manage job applications.
Yeah, basically software that helps you sort through candidates, schedule interviews, communicate with them. It integrates the hiring process instead of having like 10 different spreadsheets and email chains.
Streamlining things.
That's the goal. And finally, and this is really important for remote teams, they help with culture and engagement.
Culture. How does software help with culture?
Well, you can't just rely on bumping into people by the coffee machine anymore, right? So these platforms often include tools for like employee recognition shout-outs for good work, rewards programs, running quick polls or surveys to see how people are feeling, maybe an employee intranet, like a central hub for company news and social stuff.
So deliberately creating spaces for connection.
You have to. You have to be intentional about building and maintaining culture when everyone's remote. Even things like having clear channels for crisis communication, making sure everyone feels connected and supported, especially if something unexpected happens.
Okay, so the tech stack is crucial: project management, communication, and this comprehensive HR automation piece.
It really forms the backbone of successful remote operation.
We've hit finance, talent, productivity, the tools. Is there anything else major from the sources?
One more big one, and it's maybe the biggest picture benefit of all, the environment.
Ah, right, the environmental impact. How does remote work help there?
It's pretty straightforward, really. Fewer commutes means fewer cars on the road, less pollution. But also, think about large office buildings. Less need for them means less energy used for heating, cooling, lighting. Probably less paper used, too.
Okay, makes sense. Are there any, hard numbers on that?
There was one absolutely stunning statistic. If people just avoided commuting for, say, half the week, not even fully remote, just hybrid,
Yeah.
it could cut global greenhouse gas emissions by 54 million tons every year.
54 million tons, just from cutting commutes by half.
54 million tons. It's a staggering number. It shows how much impact our collective work patterns have on the planet.
Wow, okay. That really puts a different perspective on it, doesn't it? It's not just about business anymore.
Not at all. So if we try and pull all this together, this whole deep dive, the main point is remote hiring isn't just a trend or a little perk anymore. It's a solid, proven strategy. It cuts costs. Remember Aetna's $78 million? It helps you find and keep the best people. That 68% preference is real. And, crucially, it makes employees healthier and more productive. That 82% stress reduction is huge.
And the resources make it clear that you can manage the challenges. If you face them head on, get the right tools for HR, for project management, for communication, for compliance, you can build a really effective, thriving remote culture. It seems the question isn't really can we do this anymore, but more how quickly and how strategically can we implement it?
Exactly. Which brings us to that final thought we wanted to leave you with, something to chew on. If all this data shows flexible remote work, boosts productivity, saves money, improves health, and cuts global emissions by millions of tons, what specific type of enterprise will be the very last one that truly needs a physical office, and why? Think about it. Which industries fundamentally require people to be physically present? Maybe hands-on healthcare, construction, certain kinds of manufacturing, compared to tech, finance, marketing, consulting. Where will that physical desk actually be the last thing to disappear?
What are the absolute physical necessities? That's a great question to ponder. Okay, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the source material on remote work. Lots to think about there.